Hello everyone. Sorry I can't be there tonight, but I am going to be doing my presentation via video. So what I did my paper on is AT and UDL. And so now I'm just going to go through the process that I went through and some of my findings. The title of my paper is AT and UDL, Emerging Themes from Assistive Technology Referral Paperwork. And now here's an overview of my paper. My main research question was, when assistive technology referral paperwork is analyzed, will trends emerge regarding the gaps in resources for teachers? I'm identifying gaps through the teacher statements in the referral paperwork. For example, if a teacher asks a question, how can my student access grade level material? That tells me that the teacher doesn't have adequate information on how to provide accessible text for students with disabilities based on grade level reading material. My methodology is a qualitative design drawing upon a method of document analysis with grounded theory. So essentially what I'm going to be doing is a document analysis of referral paperwork, and I'm going to use grounded theory. So I'm doing open coding and trying to find emergent themes throughout the referral paperwork. I'm using, in my analysis, the website Deduce, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with that. Even though I've already talked about it in class a little bit, I have a screenshot to show exactly how it works. So that's setting the stage for my paper, and now I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about my analysis. Here's a chart that I included in my paper that started my open coding process. So for my initial codes, I actually broke everything down into categories. So you can see this top area here, we have question, functional area concern, anticipated outcome, environments and routines difficult for the student, and task and barrier. These are actually the questions that the teachers had to answer on the referral paperwork. What I then did is, after I did a category analysis there, is I coded all of that information based on what they were answering. I looked at the actual goal of what the student needed to do and what the teacher wanted. So was it looking for increasing information? And then maybe I also then broke it down to defining specific skills or area. Some teachers wanted students to increase their quality of writing, increase the quantity of writing, increase their independence, or some teachers were just looking at access for math skills or something like that. So after this initial coding was done, that's where more of the axial codes were done, and I specified that based on specific skills areas or whether or not we wanted to increase particular behaviors. This is a screenshot of Deduce, the website that I used. So as you can see, there's lots of different options up here at the top. What I'm on is I'm on my media. So in my methodology, I talk about how I transcribed all of my questions into one particular document and uploaded them into Deduce. So you can see here, I have coded the information. I did that by highlighting it, and then I added, you can use the space bar to do quick coding, and I coded the blue is questions, and you can see how they're color coded. These little things that kind of look like bullet points on the side are how many codes there are on this particular phrase. So this excerpt, which is what they're called in Deduce, right here, was coded under questions, coded under reading skills, and increase. So you can see there how there were 3 different codes on that one particular phrase. I liked Deduce for this coding process because it made it easier. You can see here in this corner I have a list of my active codes right here, and then if I have a particular selection that I click on, it shows me all of the different codes that were designated to that particular phrase. So this part of Deduce was nice. Where I had issues was over in the analysis part, so I'm not even going to show you that because it wasn't very beneficial. What I found was the best for me is that I exported all of my information into Microsoft Excel, and that was the most helpful for me to analyze some trends. What it did allow me to do, not very easy, was to look at all of the actual teacher comments and organize them based on my codes. And that's really what I found was the most helpful when I was looking at my qualitative analysis and analyzing what teachers actually wrote. Unfortunately, it wasn't as easy to access. I wish there was a way that I could have just said, give me all of the questions having to do with writing, and then it listed all of my actual excerpts under that area, right now the easiest way to do it, it just showed a quantity of information. So that was a huge downfall for me. In my findings sections of my paper, I talked about the major themes that were emergent within the paperwork. So you can see through this chart that writing skills was the major theme that I found within the paperwork, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in my discussion and conclusions. You can see as well that reading skills was on there, but major aspect is independence. So a lot of teachers were looking at students increasing their independence in various ways. This is just in general looking at increasing independence. So I explored a little bit more specifically about the writing skills, but I think this information does lead to some other areas of possible studies to kind of look at how teachers can be supported in reading skills, math skills, independence, and also success. In my conclusion, I discussed the theme of writing, and what I found in the document analysis is that the writing skills are really broken up into two major categories. Fine motor, so this is the actual aspects of writing, so looking at legibility of writing, the actual sustainability of the written task. So not necessarily what the students are writing, but how they're writing. And the other category is written expression. So now this is the quality. So adding details to the students' writing. So maybe they can write legibly, but it's the content of which they're writing that students are having difficulty with. And so I really kind of talk about the writing process and how the writing process can be supported with UDL. And what I've really found is that a lot of the teacher comments and the teacher answers in the paperwork can be addressed through a UDL framework. So if the teachers used UDL practices or UDL tools, then a lot of these issues wouldn't be happening, and therefore an AT referral packet would not need to be completed. What I've done down here under more resources is I have included links to the UDL toolkit, which is an amazing website that has a lot of different free resources for writing when you're looking at UDL and helping teachers implement strategies, tools, and resources. And there's also another one called the UDL Project Wiki. Both of these hold in a lot of different strategies and help with implementation for a UDL approach to help teachers support students appropriately in the classroom to hopefully avoid an AT referral packet. When looking at future research, my small research project was just exploratory and really looking at, can any gaps be identified? And so really what we can look at is how actually can we build teacher capacity. So I'm just talking about gaps that emerged and making the conclusion that with a UDL framework or a UDL approach, these gaps wouldn't exist. That definitely is something that continues to need to be researched. And also, how can you build teacher capacity in a meaningful way so that implementation occurs? Just because teachers have access to resources doesn't mean they'll actually use them. And just because teachers have the knowledge, if they don't have the resources, then maybe they won't be able to actually use the information. And more information on AT in general. There's really a lack of research overall on the AT process and the different components of assistive technology from evaluation to implementation. So there's a lot of research out there that really can be conducted and can stem from this exploratory study. So reflecting on the process, and that for me has been the most important aspect. I think that I've learned a lot from this particular assignment because I thought I had a very strong research question, and I think that through this whole process, I realized that I would do a lot of things differently. I think I have a good plan in order to attack future research. I think I've learned a lot about grounded theory and document analysis. I know I won't use deduce, but I know what features and characteristics I want in document analysis software. And for me, that's really important, especially when we're looking on writing our doctorate and our dissertation, because either we'll be purchasing software, trying to loan it, or finding it, and making sure that I make an educated decision is really important. So now I know what I'm looking for. I think also refining my research questions and kind of going in with different ideas. Now I feel like I could redo this whole project and look at very different things, and I think of had an easier time with my discussion and conclusions and findings, because I think that I would definitely revise some things to make it a little bit easier. But overall, I thought that this was probably the most valuable assignment that we've done so far, because it really helped to give myself a strategy in attacking my dissertation. Because even though I have an idea of what I want to do my dissertation about, I know that I need to refine that much more. And after doing this project, I feel like I have a much better handle on things and where I can go to give myself enough information and data to have a strong dissertation. So thank you everyone so much for listening. I apologize that I can't be there tonight. If there are any questions about my research, please feel free to email me. I will be available. And it's been a great semester. Thank you all so much for an awesome semester, and I'm looking forward to next one. Thanks again. Have a great night.